introduction. Okay, I think we are live. Hello, everybody. Welcome. It is First Monday, which means that I bring on an amazing practitioner who has either graduated or is currently in the mentorship. And today I'm really excited to introduce you to Tom. Tom is our first male practitioner who has gone through the program, the brave soul, and a group of women. But I'm excited to introduce you to Tom. He is currently inside the mentorship, about halfway through.
A little over halfway. I did. Yeah.
Amazing.
About 2/3.
Amazing. Perfect. So let's dive in. I want everybody to know kind of like your background, like what was life like before? Let's talk about prior to the mentorship.
Yes. So for 40 years, I was in a brick and mortar, and I had a chiropractic practice. And during those 40 years, I was probably more interested in the concept of functional health. I loved doing blood chemistry analysis and testing for food sensitivities and things like that. And so I really incorporated a lot of the nutrition into my practice. Problem is, I just was too busy with the day-to-day implementation of the chiropractic practice. So I was able to sell my practice a year and a half ago to my son, actually. And so he's running the chiropractic office now. And that's when I wanted to look for something that I could do in the functional healthcare practice environment. And so I saw really online that there was an opportunity to take a summit class with Michelle, and I absolutely loved it. That was really great. That was a weekend thing that was really powerful.
I love that you were at the summit. That was such a magical event. It was a really good event.
Yeah, it was great. And I understand that was not your first.
No, it was my first. That was my first summit.
Oh, that was your first.
That was my very first summit. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, it was very powerful, and there was a lot of people that took it, and then I was able to take the next course that you offered for 5 days.
Yeah, the workshop from start to scale. Yep.
Yeah. And so I went through that, and I just saw a lot of value there. And I think at one point in our conversation, I told you that I felt like you were probably the most organized person I had ever been around.
Thank you, Tom. That really means a lot. Like coming from someone who's been in practice for over 40 years, like a master at your own trade, that really, like that reflection really means a lot to me. Thank you.
Well, you're welcome. And so now I'm about 2/3 the way through the mentorship program, and I've been learning so much, and I've just been really on fire to just share what I'm doing, not only with some of my patients and that I stay in touch with, but also with colleagues, because I think it could be really an enhancement to their practice as well. So I've been reaching out on both areas.
It's amazing. So what was your big point where you were like, I want to do something in the functional space? What made you want to do like a virtual practice? What made you want to like dive into that? Because you had only done brick and mortar. I mean, that was your bread and butter. That was what you know, and that was your comfort zone.
Yeah.
And so not only were you like, okay, I'm going to leave my chiropractic practice of 40 years behind, but also like I'm going to go virtual, and I'm going to do this functional medicine thing. Like that's huge.
Well, yes, but there was two things that kept in the back of my mind always, that I was focused on. The number one thing is the headaches that came about with insurance. And I just did not want to monkey with insurance anymore. And so from start to scale and with the summit, we discussed that, and that really that's not what we do, is we don't take insurance. And so I saw a value there. And then the other thing that I thought of also was the fact that the overhead on a brick and mortar is just so extravagantly high that I thought if I can just, move away from that, I'm going to be a happier practitioner.
Yeah. Yeah. And how about, what have the last few months done for you, or how has it been for you? What realizations have you had? What steps have you taken? I know that there's a lot of moving pieces right now, but do you want to share about just what your experience has been like?
Yeah, absolutely. I think that the thing that I really like is that there's a system set up. And, I realize that my patients will be viewed specific to their needs and concerns, but I'm a systems guy, and I love to have a system put into place. And so when we talk about, 5 functional lab tests that our patients will get, and then being able to cross-reference those and come up with a protocol that has been proven and that type of thing. That means a huge amount to me. So I love that.
Me too. What about, like, what challenges have you run into? Like, just with like social media, or like transitioning, I know different softwares. I'm sure people have concerns around that kind of thing. And also, I know something that you and I have discussed inside the mentorship is like, okay, but what about, like, I have this whole pool of past patients and past like people, and like, how has that been, just like interacting and sharing and really, I don't know, like sharing your passion for why you're doing what you're doing and what you're building right now? What does that
Right.
been like?
Yeah, absolutely. I probably looked at what the mentorship has built for me, and I don't think that I'm really overwhelmed with the social media side of things. My son's really big into social media, and so he's given me a lot of tips and that type of thing. The biggest bottleneck that I've felt is in implementing the practice management resource that we have.
Practice better.
Yeah, because I just don't understand that system well enough, because I had an office manager who did all of that for me. Anytime that we needed to look into a new system or something like that, it was she was the one that took the bull by the horns. And so, but within the mentorship program, we brought on certain people that are part of the team, and so Anya and Carla have been amazing to help me in that area and bridging that problem. And so I'm getting a lot better understanding of it now. And I know there's going to still be some questions down the road, but at least I can implement a new client into the program now, where before I couldn't even figure out what the heck I was doing.
I know, learning those new systems. I remember, like, I don't even know how many systems I went through, but we started integrating electronic medical records when I was still in school in Bastyr. And I just remember that alone, like going from paper charting to going to electronic was just like, what on earth? And then going through our own process, like once that was like the trend, that's where things were going. It was like there were so many options. And then it was like trying, and it was just like a headache to be like, well, this one has this feature and this one I can't even like, and I remember changing them almost every year. It was like I felt like I was like trying a new one, and then I landed on Practice Better, and I was like, okay, I'm not searching anymore. Like, this one has what I think I need, and they also seem to be making the updates and listening to the things that I need personally as like a practitioner. And it's been easy for me to share my forms with other practitioners, still like waiting patiently for them to be able to let me share my protocols directly and Practice Better. But overall, I've been really happy. Plus, we have Brittany on our team too, who is our resident Practice Better specialist, who helps with all of that as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's another thing that I really appreciate too, is the experience that you've had over these years yourself, and then how you've now been able to instructor or help us with that process. And so we didn't have to, change EMRs every year like you had to there for a while and stuff. We can get into it and make it a lot easier for us. So
yeah, thank you. And how has it been reaching out to like past patients or past people in your life or your community and like sharing what you're doing, and what has that response been like?
Well, it's been fantastic, actually. In fact, one of the assignments that we had, and I can't remember exactly which module it was, but we were to actually interview who we would determine as our ideal client. And so I got a list of different ones, and I went through about a dozen people, interviewed each one of them, and let them know that this was an assignment. So if they could help me with that, I would really appreciate it. And oh my gosh, that was a wonderful experience because each person had such good insight on how they would like to be treated in a program like this. And so I picked that up and was able to run with that because, again, then the next thing that we needed to do was put together our Power PDF. And so I took a lot of those points that was directed to me through our interviews, and it made it so much easier to put that into words than in the PDF. So
right, because you can actually use like the verbiage and the words that are important to them, like the people who are you ideally want to be working with. I know so many practitioners, it's like they're just blindly being like, oh well, I think they want this, or I think they want this, or they just kind of put together a program or a package not really targeted to any specific person, and then it just falls flat because it's not made for that special person that you're really trying to connect with, right?
Right, exactly. Yeah, so it that's been very powerful too, and stuff, and again, like I said, I'm a systems guy, and so putting that through a system for 2 or 3 weeks of interviews, that was something that led right down my passion lane. So I like that.
I love that. I mean, I'm a systems person too. I'm a Capricorn, so I'm like very logical, and my dad's a Virgo, and it's just like organized. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
That's amazing. So where are you at now with your progress? How are you feeling about what's unfolding, how your program's coming together?
Well, okay, so where my bottleneck was practice better. Okay. Anya helped me out tremendously. I think it was a week ago.
Anya is a graduate from the mentorship, and she's also a support coach inside of the mentorship now, just so you guys know a little bit of context.
Yeah, exactly. And so she helped me out tremendously. And because it was recorded, I've been able to go through all those steps over and over and over. I've been through that particular video, I'll bet you a dozen times. Okay. I know. That's the way my brain works. But now, because I know how I can take and actually input or bring in a client, now I can reach out to my people and I can send them my Power PDF, and then they can, if they want to respond, they can respond through the button at the very end to book a call, and then we can discuss it that way. But before Anya was able to help me, I didn't feel like I could reach out with my Power PDF or even do any marketing, because what was I going to do if I had 5 or 6 people that wanted to come on board with me?
Right. So there was like almost like this energetically, it wasn't even letting anybody come in.
No.
But now that you've gotten past that bottleneck, you're like, all right, bring it on.
Exactly.
Like, let's go. Yeah.
Exactly.
Amazing.
Yeah. And so now I'm very energized to do the marketing part of it. And you've been fantastic with the recommendations. And I feel so much better with Facebook and Instagram. And then I really like email marketing. That's what I've done for years and years and years.
It's powerful.
And so those are the 3 areas that I'll work most consistently with.
Beautiful. And how do you feel about the program that you've put together?
Well, I think that the program is great. Now, there are some people who want to still work with me, that don't want to be my ideal client. And I started thinking about that. And over the years that I was in practice, I developed enough of a good relationship with so many of my patients that I understand that they may not want to do the 6-month program, but because we've had office hours and because we've had a community of people that will get onto these office hours and stuff, they make recommendations and suggestions in areas that make me feel good about. And so I've come up with 3 programs. And the 3 programs are really not a compromise to what I want to do, but they are actually 3 programs that I can fit a lot more people into those. And some of the people that I've already talked to are gravitating to one end or the other, more so than just what my ideal client would be. And so starting out, I really like that. And so I've got those 3 programs that I can market and share and that type of thing. And, really I can upsell because some of these people are on a lot of medications and they're very sick and they don't want to be sick anymore. So the first couple might be too basic for them, and they may need the
full support, comprehensive. Yeah, totally. Yeah.
And I don't want to compromise my care for them if I know that they need more. And so I've already been able to discuss that with a handful of people and stuff. So it's been great, and I'm not done with the program yet. So
amazing. Are there any other kind of like highlights or aha moments or things that you've really valued, or that anything that sticks out to you?
Well, there are a couple things that I think are great. Because you've been through the program before and you implement it in your practice as well. We have a company that we're going to be able to work with, which is Avexia. And with that, the blood chemistry analysis that I have done for a number of years now was through Dr. Weatherby. And so that's all tied together. So that makes me feel really good about that. And then I've always wanted to do blood analysis for food sensitivities. But I had to redirect my thought pattern because now we're using the MRT, which I absolutely love, versus the antibody tests that I had gotten kind of bogged down with. And so now I can see the value in something like that. That was kind of an aha moment. It was like, oh my gosh, there's something else that really can help in the area of food sensitivities. And so I feel really good about that. So that was a real good aha moment, so to speak.
That's amazing. That's wonderful. Beautiful.
And then to be able to work really anywhere. And because I sold my chiropractic practice, I am semi-retired right now. What I'm able to do is I can take this course, when I'm down in California seeing my grandkids and that type of thing.
Totally.
Or when I go over to Portland, Oregon, because I'm in Idaho, I can do all of the coursework there and stuff. But then in the process, I've had people reaching out to me. So I'm working with a lady in Ohio. I'm working with somebody else in Portland, and I'm working also with somebody in California, in Colorado. So, you can do it anywhere. And that's what I love. So
that is so cool. I love that you made it work for yourself. And that's one of the things that I personally love. And like the reason why I kind of designed the mentorship in the way that I did, it's like I created like a structure, a foundation, a backbone for you guys to see like, okay, this works. And now I get to pivot it and refine it and like make it my own, something that works for, you as your own practitioner, your own special sauce, your own interest, your own magic, and also the specific type of people that you want to work with. And you get to blend that together in something that just is fully in alignment with you and your clients. And so it's like, it's so beautiful. I love that you're already working with people and you're a little over halfway through the program. It's just like so good.
Yeah, so that was fantastic to just see how we can implement this even early on. So yeah.
Yeah, amazing. And how has it been being the only male in the group right now?
Well, one of the things that I did share with my wife is that I was a little bit nervous and stuff because I was feeling quite passionate after I had done the summit and after I had done the scale,
The workshop, yeah.
workshop. Um, I just hoped that because you were reaching out to ladies at the time and women, that that you would, hey, yeah, come on board, and you did. So it was like, yes.
I knew you'd be the perfect fit.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Of course.
Yeah, everybody in this community, and so for anybody that's listening about the mentorship and are on the call, what I would say is that it's an amazing community. I love being able to interact with so many of the different women that are in the course, and some of them that have already graduated that are still continuing on a monthly basis with some of the things that you've offered there. It's just wonderful having them to bounce ideas off of and stuff like that. So the community that you've created, because of the how you, like I say, you're the most organized person that I know, has really been helpful.
Thank you. I really pride myself on the community. I feel like it's such a magical group of people. Like every time we bring someone in, I'm just like, who is this person? Like, you're so cool.
Yeah. And I know that so many of the ones that I'm on the office hours with on a regular basis and stuff also are encouraged by people that are coming into the program, because it gives us more opportunity to bounce ideas off of, because they have a different skill set than we do and stuff. And so yeah, so you've created a wonderful program with community. So
thank you so much. Thank you. Is there anything else you want to share?
Well, I would just say that if anybody is on the fence, thinking about maybe coming into this particular mentor program, just do it. For sure, do it, because it is one of those things where you're not going to regret a minute of what is available to you, because it is, like I said, it's just one of the best programs that I've been through, and I couldn't have done this on my own. So
thank you so much, Tom. It's been such a pleasure having you, and I'm just so excited to continue just like watching things unfold for you, and just it's been awesome. It's been awesome having you be a part of the group.
Thank you. I do appreciate that, Michelle. I really do. So
well, thank you for your time. Have a beautiful rest of your evening. If you guys want to check out Tom's information, I'll pop it in the comments. What's the best way? You want email, Facebook, Instagram?
Right now, email probably would be the easiest. Yeah,
okay.
hickeyhealth@yahoo.com.
Okay, perfect. We'll pop it in the comments if you're all right with that.
Okay, yes, absolutely.
Amazing. Have a great rest of your evening, Tom.
Thank you so much, Michelle.
Soon. All right. Bye.
Bye.